future Sangha out of compassion for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức tận thính, vì thứ pháp hội cấp nhất thiết chúng sinh. Thính chuyên diệu pháp luân giao đạo ngã môn, như há liêu sanh thoát tư ly khổ đạc lạc, tất chứng vô sanh. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Nam mô Sananto Suche Doye La Hudi San Miao Sampu Tosye. Nam mô Ta Đắc Tha Toya Daya La Hade Tam Yu Tam Bồ Đà Toa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu shang sheng she wei miao fa bai qian万劫难遭遇，我今见闻得受持愿解如来真实义。O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Venerable Sixth Patriarch, Venerable First Patriarch, Venerable Left-Home people and all good new advisors Emituofo. Kính thưa chư Phật Bồ Tát, Hòa thượng Huệ Năng, Hòa thượng Tiến Hóa, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện tri thức A Di Đà Phật. Chư Phật菩萨、六祖、师父、上人、各位持学人、各位上知识阿弥陀佛。Okay, today is the 23rd of May 2021. Thank you all for coming. We are here in Wei Mountain Temple and we are investigating the last chapter 10 of the Sixth Patriarch Sutra. Okay, let's see. Okay. I noticed from the screen from Korea, I noticed that there's some black things on top of the ceiling. What are those? They cost a lot of money. You notice these two black things here? Huh? On the ceiling? Can you talk?
Yes, Master, can you?
Oh, we can actually hear you. Now they can talk to us. Oh, wow, look at that. So are you guys done with the audio, video installation?
Yes, Master.
All right, look at that. Now, everyone say hello to them, yeah? Okay, congratulations.
Yes,
Glad for you.
Master.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are
We're
those
trying
black
to
things?
have more setup from the mixer because that digital, that's very new to us. So we need to have
Digital mixer. I mean, fancy. But the voice, the sound is not that good. What kind of microphone are you using?
It's a Sennheiser microphone.
Oh, how horrible. You pay so much money on those things and they don't sound too good. Not very authentic, not very, huh? Whoa, nice, look at that. Oh, digital mixer. I thought we were getting like a 49 channel, 48 channel, it's only 12. Are we sure we're getting our money's worth?
That's the iPad. What you said, just the iPad that control the mixer. The mixer is 32 channels.
Only 32 channels? Look at that, look at that.
That is the iPad. That's the iPad controlling the mixer.
Did we have to pay for the iPad too?
No, this is free.
It's free. Oh, thank you, Lord. Can you believe that? The Koreans, they give them iPads away for free? Yeah. Sure, they pad it up somewhere else. All right. How nice. Now we can talk to them. They can ask questions about going through the Canadian influence. All right, look at that. Look at all the fancy equipment. You see that? All those lights blinking, it's just like alien movie. How many Sennheisers are there? Look at that. Oh my God, I'm nearly passed out. It's 12 of them. See those Sennheiser? You know, those neon-looking type? It's 12 of them. And then the two on top are basically, I believe, antennas. So now they can do three floors. Oh yeah, the Koreans, they don't mess around with technology like us. We're cheap. They're not. Look at that. And then and she goes, yeah, she still uses it. Oh, this is my book, you know, and here's my iPad. All right, look at that. Uh-oh, the microphone is dead. So new and yet it doesn't work already. She speaks in Korean anyway. Can't hear you. Oh, there you go.
When we adjust the volume on the iPad, the mixer volume.
The sound disappears. How magical.
See this?
I want you to know, we also use Sennheiser equipment that I buy one piece at a time for 10 years. They do it one shot, 12 of them. Koreans have different standards. Okay, are you happy? Huh? Say, yeah. All right, now all you have to do is get more customers. The one who sits right there in front is coming to the United States next week, hopefully. Right? Yeah? Yeah? We hope that she makes it. She's having a lot of obstructions. Oh, you think it's easy to come to the temple? It's very difficult. They've been attacking her for weeks now. Poor gal. Yeah? What do you have to say? What? She's a shrink too.
선생님 통역 부탁드려요.
Yeah, what did she say? Go ahead, speak.
네, 스님 안녕하세요. 다음 주 목요일 날 위산사에 도착하는데 스님을 꼭 뵙길 바라고 무사히 잘 갔다 갈게요.
What is?
Hello, Master. I will be planning to arriving at Wei Mountain Temple on next week, Thursday.
Next week, Thursday.
And
All right.
I really hope to see you when I arrive there.
Yeah, me too. Good luck flying. Don't bring any COVID-19. We heard you have a lot of COVID-19 over there. Okay. See, the sound's pretty good, huh? I mean, it sounds almost as good as ours. Yeah. All right, shall we go back to the real business of the real Dharma? All right, so let me, last week we spent a lot of time on the first Gatha, the first 4 verses of the 6 Patriarch teachings. And we ran out of time, even though we went like 15 minutes over. I just want to kind of go over the last couple of things about the first 4 lines of verses, and let me read them first, and then there is nothing true in anything, so don't view anything as true. If you view anything as true, such view will be completely false. I love the way he teaches. It's nothing more direct than this, okay? And it's so profound. And I'm impressed that typically in the past, when I spoke Dharma like this, a lot of people objected to it. They just say, I disagree with you. And you're full of it and so forth, whether vocally, they express vocally, or they say to themselves silently. But last week, the amazing thing is that no one really objected, okay? What people objected to is the fact, I don't see it myself. They didn't say that the 6th Patriarch is wrong. They just say, I can't experience it. And that's precisely, let's see, it's a proof that his disciples' level are pretty high. As you can imagine, he's one of the greatest patriarchs in the Chinese Chan system, historically. And therefore, you can expect his disciples to be quite advanced. So this teaching here is basically for usually, I would say the majority of his disciples are Arhat, first stage Arhat, or higher. Okay, so that's why he looked at the whole group and said, okay, there's nothing true in anything. And they took it, okay, had no problem with it. Okay, so the point is that they have a certain level of wisdom before you can absorb this kind of teaching. What's impressive last week is that many of you are not at that level yet, but you didn't have any doubts, which means very important. Meaning what? You were sleeping? No? That you have the potential to reach first stage Arhats or higher when your doubt level is that low. Yeah, cool. There's so much potential in those who were present last weekend. Those who weren't there, tough luck. Isn't that cool? Doubt is what stopped you from reaching. It's one of the things that will stop you from reaching the so-called beginning of wisdom in Buddhism. Is doubt. Huh? All right? Any questions, comments? Yes, sir. Red, pink, magenta.
I was thinking about this a lot during the week, this verse, and so he's talking about don't be certain, don't have any certain views, right?
Any views at all. Any views. Like the baby is sitting here right now. She doesn't understand what we're talking about. What happened is she hears it through her ears. She doesn't know whatever it means. However, it means in the future she won't be as shocked as we are when she hears about this profound principle. Because in Buddhism, you need repetition over and over again until the seeds would take root. Okay? So the reason that you didn't object to it, okay, is those who were awake basically heard it before. Okay? Yes. Tian Guo.
Could you, Master, could you go over briefly what view, how do you define view?
View, good question. View is what you believe. Whatever you believe is called a view. The views, basically in Buddhism, are prejudices. Prejudices about anything. Prejudice is usually has a negative connotation, but prejudice to me is you so firmly believe in it. Okay? So the view is actually almost like a prejudice. Jian here, okay? Jian, view here is from the Jian, Chinese character, which refers to any beliefs that arises from your sensory organs, that's formed from the information gathered from your sensory organs, meaning your ear, your tongue, your eyes, your nose, your body, your mind, and so forth. 6 sense organs. Whatever you receive and you believe it to be true, okay, it's called a view. Okay? And the reason I use the word prejudice, because the Chinese, the word jian is actually more accurate. But in English, we don't have the equivalent. So that's why I use something a little bit more forceful, like a prejudice. Because what happens is you believe in your sensory organs, don't you? Basically, we have a saying, I don't believe it until I see it, right? I don't believe it until I hear it. I don't believe it until I touch it, okay? And what is the true meaning of those sentences, those statements, is that your your prejudices are based on those facts that you perceive from your sensory organs. You deny that there are prejudices because you don't think it's negative. Actually, to me, it's negative because it's harmful to you. Yes.
Is it possible to see something or hear something and it not be a view?
This view here refers to a judgment rendered through the data, external data. It's a judgment you form. Any judgment you form, okay? This is round. Yes, that's a view. Yes.
So like the round object. So objectively, it's round. Like it's round in the form, but in our mind, when we think about it being round, that's when the views come up, right? we perceive it, when it goes through our mind and we judge it as it being round?
The reason it's called a view, the reason it's called a prejudice is because your mind creates an attachment to that. And that mind that we use to process information is a false mind. And Buddhism, when you hang around long enough, you learn how to get rid of that mind that filters and distorts everything through your ego. You too.
Master, do the people who were present online also have the potential to reach first stage Arhat, or just the people who were physically present?
The people online? It depends. In my mind, that's a view. In my mind, some people like north of Jewel Mountain, okay, wouldn't have a chance. But however, since I like Jewel Mountain people, they still have a chance. Okay? Yeah. Anything else? See, I do have a lot of views. All right. So the master says, when you view anything, okay, as true, such a view that you depend on is completely false, meaning that you should not stake your life on your views, period. For now, it's okay. Now you don't get it, it's okay. But don't bet your life on it. So far, so good? That's all. If you don't, you're willing to accept it, then you have a chance. Okay? So this is the nature of the investigation of Mahayana. We are very bold. We tell you things, we say things that are kind of difficult for you to accept. Okay? And that's why it's very subtle in the sense that the Westerners or people in the modern era, they are voracious information processors. They loved information. They process information. The internet doesn't help, okay? Because the internet is full of bad information, more bad information than good information. Let's face it, okay? So the fact that you have so much information is detrimental because it's garbage. Okay? Because when you hear garbage, it's stored in your consciousness. When you hear good information, it's stored in consciousness as well. So what happened is in our storage banks is more bad information than good information, unfortunately. So where you pick up information actually matters. Okay? Because I said this a few times, but people weren't paying attention. And because if you listen, for example, to the Dharma, it's not all the same. Because a lot of Dharma masters, which happened to me personally, I read so many books from so many Dharma masters from some different sources. Okay? Chinese, Vietnamese, French, and so forth. Okay, Japanese, and so forth. And I later realized that basically it's all garbage except for Master Shenhua and a few patriarchs. So I spent like a year of my life sitting there meditating, and as these this back, the old information arises, because once you put it in here, eventually it will arise. It's a matter of time. So I was sitting there meditating every day, and the information from the Taiwanese Pure Land master came up. Another teaching about the Universal Door chapter from another Taiwanese master, famous one, arose as well. So I sat there day after day dumping, garbage dumping. I said, that's bad. Let's dump it. So it's a waste of time. I'm warning you, okay? Right now it's okay for you. Right now you cannot tell any difference. But later on, you regret. That's a lot of garbage that you have to dump. It's a waste of time, basically. Okay? It matters. It really matters. That's why in Mahayana, we only learn from the patriarchs. We don't waste time reading junk. Okay? Yeah. And that's why the patriarchs of old only allowed certain students to teach. If you're not qualified to teach, they said, don't teach yet. They basically don't tell them to go teach. But in the sixth patriarch here, he has some eminent disciple. He says, you're ready to go. You can go and choose an area and teach because you're qualified to teach. You won't give out junk. Whereas there's so much junk. Basically, I give you to be specific. Basically, most Pure Land teachings out there, except from Master Hsuan, which is you have to find here and there. He didn't say, today I will teach you Pure Land. He teaches, all over. Okay, one sentence here, one sentence there, and that's it. Okay, and you need to gather it. But basically, the Asian Pure Land teaching is erroneous. And not just the Asian, but Master Hsuan disciples' teaching about Pure Land is also erroneous. It's how bad it is. Okay? And that's because they are saying things before the teacher authorized them to say. Okay? So I'm sorry, I may sound offensive and self-promoting in some way, okay? But the truth has been told that we need to set new standards in the 21st century where the Dharma speakers need to meet certain requirements. Similarly to like in academia, you need to have at least like PhD in order to teach at a decent institution. Okay? You need to be certified. Same thing in Mahayana. The Dharma speakers need to be certified. If you're not certified, then don't teach. Okay? Why don't you go and assist someone else who teaches and learn? And be patient until you're qualified to teach. Someone has to say that. Because if we don't, the junk keeps proliferating and it's damaging to the Dharma. To me, this is why precisely Asian Pure Land Buddhism, is so bad nowadays. Has so much junk. Okay? And now these Dharma speakers, the Dharma is judged by the number of followers instead of the credentials of the actual Dharma's master, himself or herself. So if you have a lot of followers with a certain master, whether it's Tibetan, whether it's Taiwanese or Chinese, those are considered to be credible Dharma, and I beg to differ. My master, Master Hsuan's Pure Land Dharma is so advanced, so accurate, and yet very few people know about it. In his era, when he was alive, he's probably the only credible teacher of Pure Land Dharma in the West. There's no one else. Physically here, who understood Pure Land Dharma. Okay? YouTube question, and then you go to the back here. Go ahead, YouTube.
Tian Guo asks, Master, do we pick up bad or good energy from what we watch online, such as non-Buddhist things, like attending classes or watching TV shows? And are you planting any corresponding seeds in our eighth consciousness?
Yes. Okay, green. See, I don't want to talk too much because the more I talk, the more people get offended. Okay, but I'm sticking my neck out because I hope that the next generation, third generation, we need to set the standards and need to set the parameters for people to recognize the proper Dharma. You can't just be afraid to speak, to say it, because then you get criticized and other people attack you. I've been attacked my entire career so far, so nothing bothers me anymore, I hope. Yes. Green, great. What is the color again? Great, thank you.
Mô Phật bạch thầy, cái kiến đó là chánh kiến và tà kiến hoặc là Phật kiến, nó có ba cái kiến theo ngoại ngăn nghĩ đó. Cái tà kiến thì mình thế gian này ai nào cũng biết, mà cái chánh kiến đó thì nó lờ lẹt, nó đi lừa người ta. Rồi cái Phật kiến đó là nói câu nào ra thì chứng cái câu đó. Mô Phật biết phải không?
Sure.
Master, talking about views, I think like there are three types of view: the proper views, deviant views, and the Buddha's view. So the proper view probably you know, but then the deviant view is like people use it to con, and then the Buddha's view is like whatever you say, it's kind of like the confirmation, the ấn
Certified.
Certified.
Can you imagine this is a woman who hangs around in our kitchen, has no education whatsoever, can't even speak English, okay? And she speaks like this. Isn't it scary? Who would take her seriously? I wouldn't. Go back to where you came from. Pretty impressive. Think about that. Huh? Not bad. Okay? Again, we need more allies. I'm afraid that my colleagues, my Dharma brothers and sisters, they don't look at themselves as my brothers and sisters anyway. But they are not helping, because we need to help those out there, those people out there who are exposed to junk information, and they think it's Buddhism, they think it's Mahayana, whether it's Chan, whether it's Pure Land. We need to have standards. If Mahayana is to prosper in the West, we need a change. Okay, we need to set standards, and I think the Chinese did it already. We need to get certified. Period. So, okay, so or without certification, you need to have a master who's enlightened, who says, you may go and teach, because he knows what he's doing. Okay? All right? All right. It's a lot more going on here. I've just simplified the information for you. This teaching on slide 111 here is very profound. We can spend a few more sessions on this, but I think it's too much for you. Okay. I summarize by telling you that it's so much more information here that you will discover. I don't care what level you are, you will discover more what he means. Okay, he's very profound from low level to high level. There's so many levels of interpretations. Okay. Yes, black, purple.
Master, there was a question from Jewel Mountain Temple, and this is from Ha-Sung Kim. She asked, during last week's lecture, we learned that there is nothing true in this world. Then why karma exists, and what is the point of praying?
What is the point of what?
Praying.
Praying. Okay. I leave it to the Korean Sunims to answer that. Hey, speak. Do Korean disciples ask questions like this to the Sunims? Or it's just who us? I call it foreigner abuse. Huh? If any view is true, then karma is, and if nothing is true, then karma cannot be true. Okay? Anyone would like to touch this? Yes.
The truth. I think we had just talked about this. That the truth comes upon when your mind attaches to a form, and so when your mind attaches to the idea of karma, is when the truth that the sixth patriarch is talking about arises. So objectively, karma could be true because it's just law, it's just cause and effect. But I think when you start thinking about the karma as it being true, that's going against what the sixth patriarch is teaching here.
It's not incorrect. Well, let me simplify it for you. Okay, because we can sit here and talk back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Okay, and there's so many different layers that if I answer it to her level, then some of you would object to it. I answer to her some of your levels, then she would not be able to understand. See the problem? And the Master Huineng's teaching applies to all levels. Isn't that cool? Huh? Isn't that amazing? This applies to all levels. And how do you answer someone at her level versus someone listening here is at a different level, and some very talkative person there, who sits there and says, "Oh, I don't feel anything." How do you say that? Basically, okay, when the word view here refers to the belief that you are right. Your view as Republican is so-and-so. Your view as a Democrat and so-and-so. Your view as a king is so-and-so. Your view as a monk is so-and-so. And you believe that to be true, then such view is false. So far, so good. So, how does it apply to the law of cause and effect? Okay? The law of cause and effect does not depend on your view. Whether you believe it or not, it's still cause and effect. But if you say, my view, cause and effect is true, then your view is false. Got it? You see the distinction? If you believe that you're true, whether you talk about cause and effect or something else, and you believe, I'm so right, okay, and this cannot be refuted, such view that you hang on to is false. But the law of cause and effect is true by itself, whether you believe it or not. So far, so good? This refers to the individual's view, not the law of cause and effect. Is it clear, Korea? Can you understand the distinction? We're talking about you as an individual who adamantly believes that you're right. Your view is right. Such beliefs is wrong. Don't have such beliefs. Okay? Meaning, keep an open mind. It may be true to you for now, but when you open your real wisdom, you see that you're wrong. So far, so good? So do not do anything by holding on to your views and insist on your views being right so that you prevent yourself from letting go of those false views later. Yes, back there. Orange.
A question. So is there anything in Buddhism that is absolute truth?
Of course there is. Buddhism is absolute truth. He just said it.
The end?
Excuse me? Is there a false view?
Yes.
Unlike you, my views are true.
But then if you say the views are true, then that means you're false?
Did he say that don't view anything as true? Okay, remember, he's talking to his disciples present. He wasn't talking to me. Got it? We're not equal. I don't care what you believe. Men, women are not equal. Vietnamese and Mexicans are not equal. I don't care. So what's the point in praying? Is the second part of the Korean question from Jewel Mountain Temple. What's the point in praying? You pray because it's beneficial to you. People keep praying because it's useful to them. All right? Any other questions? Yes, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say that there's the new age spiritual philosophy of your beliefs create your reality, and I realized that really goes against cause and effect. And I used to be really into it, but it's very, very popular these days.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's why it's very hard. That's why Buddhism is very hard to teach people. Since the Buddha became enlightened himself, he looked at our human race and said, too much work. Yeah, it's not worth it. I'd rather retire. What's in it for me, really, basically? What's in it for him? Let's face it. He was a crown prince. He has a wife, he has a son, he has everything else you ever want in life. Why would he bother teaching to people who are have so many views and so full of themselves? Because he sees us as suffering. And out of compassion, he wants to help us. Okay? That's what makes him different. Okay, anything else? All right. Next. And that's, wow, almost an hour. 113, Sutra Text. We go to the next verse. You can know what is true by yourself. Being apart from the false is the truth of the mind. When your own mind is not apart from the false and lacks the truth, then where is the truth?
若能自有真，离假即心真，自心不离假，无真何处真？
Okay, so he says nothing true. So he elaborates more so that those of you who were so alarmed said, "Is nothing true in life? What am I to do?" So he says, no worries, let me explain to you. Okay? He says, if you can know what is true by yourself, okay, what does it mean? 若能自有真. What does it mean? Yes, Red.
It means that if you inside of you, you already know the truth, because your false mind is really just clouding the truth. But if you inside you already know the truth.
Okay, anyone else? This is a clarification of what is true and what is not true. Okay? Because the first 4 verses are designed to shock you and say, boom, there's nothing true. And if those of you who says, I don't believe you, you stand up and you walk out, done. Those people, we don't need to worry about them. Okay? We need a few more billions of lifetimes before they can turn, they have a chance. Okay? Those of you who are not shocked by that, stuck around and say, I don't know, help. Okay? So he then elaborated. He says, if you know what is true by yourself, he is referring to the fact that when people look at something true, is in relation to something that is false. Okay? In our mind, in ordinary people's mind, it is true because you consider it to be true because you know that it's not false. So this true here is a result of something else that is false. It depends on something else that's false. You understand? That is duality. Your mind right now, you say it's true because it's not false. Right or wrong? Yes? That's how you think. You know it's true because you know something is false and it's not that false thing. Therefore, it must be true. So this true here is relative to something else that's false. If your mind works like that, your truth here, which is dependent on something else, is false. Like Guo Yin, who said yesterday she's a rich millionaire. Okay? That's because she looked at someone else who doesn't have as much money as she does. See that? That's relative. The truth there is called relative truth. And therefore, the truth is false. Any problems with that? It's very easy for you to verify for yourself. You really believe in something because you know, I believe it is black because it's not white. Okay? Then that truth right there is a relative truth. It's the truth in a world that's dual. Our world is dual. Our world base is created by pairs of opposites, Adam and Eve. Yes? God cannot. What happened to Daniel? Well, God could have not stopped. He created Adams, and he says, oh, I'm not done yet. I need to create Eve. The Bible says so. That's my proof. Agree, disagree? Thank you. He agrees. See, I prove, I quote, I quote the Bible, and the Bible cannot be false. Therefore, the Bible is true. I just proved that the Bible is false. And he agreed immediately. He was so happy. I said, oh, the Bible cannot, it's not false, therefore it must be true. He said, Daniel said, therefore the Bible is false. Got you again. You see that? And that's how ordinary people build their worlds on pairs. Adam and Eve. Good and bad. True and false. Okay? So because of that, this structure, okay, cannot exist by itself. That's why he says, if you know what is true by yourself, okay, that is the truth here, by yourself, doesn't depend on anything else. Okay? Then that is the truth. So earlier, Korea asked a question, what about the law and cause and effect? Is that true or not? The law of cause and effect is by itself. It doesn't need anything else. Whether you believe or not, doesn't matter. It's still true. And if you don't believe it, who cares? Be that way. It's still cause and effect, whether you believe it or not. So far, so good. You can know what is true by yourself. Okay? Being apart from the false is the truth of the mind, meaning that you 理假即心称. Okay. Translation is I don't quite like it. Okay. He says, I would change translation a little bit. I would say, when the mind, the true mind, is that which is apart from the false. Okay? This translation is too vague. It's not what the sixth patriarch is saying, because this person, these translator people, do not understand what the sixth patriarch is teaching here. He says, okay, that mind of yours is true when it is apart from the false. It's that simple. There's nothing true to the mind, whatever. This mind is true when it's apart from the false. Just flip it around like that makes a huge difference in meaning. Yes, go ahead, Red.
Master, is one of the fundamental differences between impure worlds and pure worlds that in pure worlds we have this discrimination? that you don't find in a pure world?
No, you still, impure world is as opposed to pure world. So you're still talking about relative truth. So it's not that.
Okay.
Okay. You two, go ahead.
Tian Guo asks, Master, I get so afflicted when helping my friend who asks me for my help. But if I don't help, I am blamed for not being compassionate as a Buddhist. Is this view true, Master? What do you recommend?
I don't know you, so I don't know what to recommend you. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your troubles, and I cannot help. Okay. Good luck. I know my limitations. I don't understand. I tell you so. I don't understand because I don't know you enough. You have to try talking to a shrink who will spend the time to get to know you first. When your mind, okay, so it says, when the true mind, when the mind is true, when the mind is true when it is apart from the false. The mind is true. Don't say when. The mind is true when it is apart from the false. It's that precise. This mind, you're looking for a true mind, that's the thing that is apart from the false. Okay? That's all there is to it. Don't try to understand. Okay? When you reach high level, you say, of course. But now you say, explain to me. It cannot be explained. So far, so good? This is a statement of fact. Your mind is true. When your mind becomes true, you know it's apart from false. Period. There's no more duality, in other words. This is true. You're talking about true mind now. So far, so good? So the reason I won't try to explain to you, because you cannot use your false mind to understand about the true mind I'm talking about. It's impossible, so I won't even try. And that's part of the learning in Mahayana, is that you don't understand, just shelve it. Say, okay, I don't get it now, but I know this is the truth because it came from the sixth patriarch's mouth. It's got to be true. Just shelve it for now, period. Don't try to understand because you can't. Okay? If I explain, if he says, 理假即心真, if you say, the mind is true when it is apart from the false, and you say, wait, does he mean, you go like that, then you don't get it. You see that? If you understand, when he says, 理假即心真 here in Chinese, or when the mind is true when it's apart from the false, then you say, of course. There's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to explain. What's there to explain? So far, so good? And that's what I'm suspicious of people who say, let me explain to you about the truth. Okay? Because he's trying to explain to a confused person he will never be able to understand what is true. Questions, comments? Next one. 知心不离假. Okay? So he says, when your own mind is not apart from the false, and it's it continues the next sentence. Don't try to understand too quickly, okay? Before, the first sentence is by itself, second sentence by itself, but now these two are combined, okay? Okay. So far, so good. I'm trying to alleviate your mental burden on you a little bit, okay? You say, oh, let me get this third sentence. What does it mean? Not done yet. Let me finish. Okay? So when your mind is not apart from the false, okay, meaning that your mind still has this distinction between true and false. Okay? That means it's not apart from the false. He says, oh, I don't want the false. Okay? It attaches the false. Wu Zhen, He Zhu Zhen. Okay? When your mind is not apart from the false, meaning it's attached to the false, therefore it is a false mind. When your mind is a false mind, how can you find the truth? See, that reaffirms why I don't try to explain it to you earlier in the second sentence. Because I cannot make your false mind understand about the true mind. It's not possible. You should be insulted, but you're not. You're weird. Something wrong with you. Huh? Isn't that cool? Questions, comments? You see, now, number 2, sentence number 3 and 4 are supposed to be insulting, but you're not insulted. That's how clever this patriarch is. And I don't think unless I insult you, you would notice how strong this statement is, how insulting it is. It's basically said, you're hopeless. It's not possible to explain to you. YouTube comment.
Jian said the current English translation for 若能自有真 sounds very weird and does not sound right. She also said, my false mind is incapable of coming up with a better translation.
So Chinese. Yes, sir. Help her out. She's right, but I'm lazy. If I correct everything, we'll be here forever. Yes, go ahead.
I just think it's cool that the sixth patriarch uses duality here to explain non-duality.
Yeah. He doesn't need to use the concept of duality, but I had to use the concept of duality to help you understand. He knows what he's talking about. His disciples know what he's talking about, but we don't. So I'm sorry, but I had to introduce to you the concept of duality for you, which makes it easier for you to understand. Okay, but his disciples know exactly what he's talking about. And Jane is right. And thank you, Jane. Okay, she has very good point. Okay, and I cannot ignore it now because the Chinese are giving me a hard time. Okay, they said, I understand the Chinese. And basically, Jane says, I understand the Chinese, what the sixth patriarch is saying, and the English translation, I disagree. That's what Jane is saying. Okay, and it's not nice because now she puts me in a bind. She says, if you agree, how could you? Okay, so let me fix it and see if she agrees. Is it okay? Or you want me to ignore it, like it's false anyway? Her view is false anyway, who cares? Huh? Chinese view. if you yourself have the truth. But that's Chinese. If you are true, if you yourself are true, okay? This true here is the absolute truth, not relative truth. Okay? And that, therefore, your mind is true because it is apart from the false. Okay? Any questions or comments? It's okay, don't try to understand everything. If you, there are a couple ways to translate the first two sentences. I choose this most simple form, the simplest form. You can translate it slightly differently as well. It doesn't matter. You understand what I'm talking about. He's referring to duality, period. Okay, when your mind is no longer dual, that's called you have the truth. Okay? And we let the Chinese process it for a while. Yes, sir.
Before, maybe a couple months ago, I asked you, I said, sometimes I have trouble making decisions, you know, because I'm always analyzing, like, okay, good or bad, is this the right way, is this the wrong way? And it would muddy my mind so much. It was really bothering me. But then I started, after last lecture, I started, you know, thinking things of non-dual. I tried to at least more. And I just want to say it really, really helped me calm my mind a lot. And yeah, no matter the decisions I made, I don't want to have to analyze it as the right one or the wrong one. And I think it helped me calm down my mind a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. Sometimes when you don't own the truth yet, when your mind is not true yet, give it your best and give it a rest. That's all you have. When you talk to any therapist, that's all you have. What are you going to do? Okay? You have to pay me. Okay? All right. Any other questions? Shall we go? Continue? No problems here? 115, Sutra Text. Sentient beings understand motion. Insentient beings do not move. If you cultivate the practice of non-movement, like insentient beings, you will not move.
有情即解动，无情即不动。若修不动恨，同无情不动。
I admit to you, I didn't prepare. So let me, before I open my mouth and say stupid things, let me go to the next section. Okay. Okay. Truth is so liberating. I don't have to pretend. Okay. Okay. Very good. It has Chinese and English at the same time. That helps. 116, commentary. The Patriarch further said, sentient beings understand movement. I don't say motion. movement. Okay? Is that the same? Motion versus movement? Dictionaries. Because later they use the word non-movement here, so I prefer to use the word movement. That's one of my reasons. Excuse me. The nice thing about the Chan teaching is very, very simple words that everyone understands, and anyone can understand. Okay? And yet it's very profound because it's so simple, it can be interpreted at so many different levels. Okay? He says, 有情, which are sentient beings. Sentient beings are the beings with emotions. That's you, us. We are sentient beings. Yes? Sarah's dog is sentient being because it has emotions. It knows pain. When they cut the dog up, it feels pain. Okay? So that's what sentient beings are. Okay? They understand movement. Okay? Meaning that sentient beings move. That's what we do. We move. We can't stay still. Right? So, we know how to move. We dance. We twerk. I don't know what it means. Okay? But you know what I mean. We move. And we do martial arts. That's movement. Yeah? Tai Chi, all those things. They're movement. We walk. We stroll. We bike. All those are movements. So we understand movement. Because that's what we do. We move. Huh? We play with our kids. We smile. We cry. All those are movements. Yes? In sentience, they do not move. Okay? In contrast, in sentience are things that don't experience emotions. Rocks. Inanimate objects. They do not move. So far, so good? Simple, right? Next. If you cultivate the practice of non-movement, okay? He used the word sing here, which is practice, so the translation is very close. He says, if you cultivate the practice of non-movement, then you won't move like insentient beings. Okay? So he's referring to, even though we, sentient beings, we have emotions, because our emotions, we move. Okay? Emotions change constantly. Ups and down, ups and down. Sometimes we're happy, sometimes we're unhappy. Okay? And varying degrees of happiness and varying degrees of unhappiness. Because of them, we move accordingly. So far, so good? So the movement is from our emotions, in other words. Is that clear? Okay? So, but if you practice, you cultivate, okay, you hone the skill in the practice of non-movement like chant, you want to learn to not move, in other words. Okay? So you practice, you acquire that skill, then you, just like in sentient beings, you will not move. Perfectly clear, yes? I hope there's something else deeper. 117, Sutra Text. If you seek the true non-movement, in movement there is non-movement. Non-movement is non-movement, but things without sentient lack the Buddha seed.
若密真不动，动上有不动，不动是不动，无情无佛种。
Okay, I give up. This is too much. No? Shall I try to explain it to you? You sure you want me to? Okay. It's got to be challenging, otherwise he's not a patriarch. If it's so simple, then why bother? We can, thanks, I like you, but I don't need you. Okay? Yeah. I'm moving on. The next patriarch. Next! So it's got to be something we don't understand. So it's comforting. It's all, wow, still room to learn, a lot to learn. Okay, 118, commentary. If you seek true non-movement, drop the the. There's no the. This shows this person don't know what they're doing. There's no the. Okay? Someday you understand. If you have a question mark in your mind, you disagree with me or agree with me, that's because you don't understand yet. So, if you seek true non-movement, okay? In movement, you should know, in movement, there is non-movement. Okay? And non-movement itself is non-movement, okay? However, in sentient beings lack the Buddha seed. Okay? So because before we use the word insensient beings, so now we should stick to insensient beings. Why change the phraseology? So insensient beings lack the Buddha seed. It's difficult. Okay. We should go back to the first 4 verses. I can do better. Yes, sir.
I feel like this is kind of similar to the beginning of the Sixth Patriarch Sutra, where the 2 monks are arguing whether it's the wind moving or the flag moving, and then the Sixth Patriarch says, no, it's your mind moving.
Yes, all those things. Okay, but he's trying to explain a very profound principle using very simple words. That's why it makes it very difficult to explain. Okay, it had to make sense to both his patriarch disciples as well as non-patriarch disciples. I only have to worry about non-patriarch disciples, and I still can't handle it. See the difference? Okay? Yeah. All right. So far so good. You see, if you seek non-movement, true non-movement, then you should know that in movement there is non-movement. You want to know about true non-movement, then you should know in that true non-movement there's movement. And then in movement there's non-movement, vice versa. So far so good. That's the first 2 sentences. Furthermore, non-movement is non-movement, but you should know that insensient beings, the beings who don't move, actually have no Buddha seed. That's all. I disagree, but I don't dare say it. Okay? He's teaching it from the perspective of Chan. I disagree from the perspective of Avatamsaka Sutra. So we both right. I thought I impressed you. Okay? But it's okay. Let's stick to Chan for now. Okay? See, I disagree with sixth patriarch. The Koreans are totally unimpressed with this. Oh, yeah, so heretic. Sixth patriarch is, you know, the Jogi order is from sixth patriarch. So I say, oh, sacrilege. How could you? Huh? You, Jogi order people? Good Lord. So he says, okay. So he says, non-movement, however, in sensing beings who are characterized by non-movement lack the Buddha seed. So far, so good. That's all. He's building a logic here. Okay. Okay. It's just like sometimes you just listen. Don't try to understand too much, because I don't. So far. 119, Sutra Text. Well able to discriminate among marks, but unmoving in the primary meaning, the very act of viewing in this way itself is a function of true suchness.
能善分别相，第一义不动，但作如此见，即是真如用。
Okay, again, the translation, I disagree slightly. Jewel Mountain has a question. Has been a long hour and a half. Today is a real struggle. It's very difficult to BS with you when he says it so bluntly. Go ahead, Jewel Mountain.
네, 스님, 이번 주 목요일 날 위산사 도착하는데 공항이나 비행기 안에서는 혼자 이동해야 되는데 그때는 제가 무엇을 하면 좋을지 여쭙고 싶습니다.
Master, I'm arriving this Thursday, and I'll be alone during the flight and in the airport. What can I do to help myself?
Yeah, she was speaking. I said, Toni. I was saying, when she was speaking, I don't know what she was talking about. My mind is just saying, and then she translated. That's the answer. And that goes to all of you. And you find it hard to come to the temple, recite. Okay? That's why we teach you on Saturday night. Because you will encounter obstacles, and that's when you use it. And when you come to the temple, it's very difficult. You have all kinds of instruction. This lady here has been under attack for weeks now, to the point where she's actually detaching. So I had to ask the abbot to help her out. So you better recite Da Judo before you detach yourself, and then you need external help. Okay? Does it help? Okay, very good. Yes, sir.
What does that mantra mean?
Hmm?
What does that mantra mean?
It's for Buddhists. It's the heart of the Shrangama mantra. So you recite it, it's like reciting the whole mantra itself. Okay? So it creates a tremendous amount of blessings. I explain it in a way that's easier for you to understand. That recitation there, when you recite, and we teach you to recite, and we recite together with you on Saturday night, it generates a tremendous amount of blessings. Okay? And those blessings are yours. And only yours, but when you come to the temple and you recite it with the rest of us, okay, our recitation add to your blessings as well. So you generating blessings for yourself when you recite it, and when we recite it, we also add to your blessings. Okay, and those blessings there are yours, are your own personal wealth. Okay, so when you have more and more wealth, like we're talking about, like Jeff Bezos and so forth. When you recite this mantra, that's the kind of wealth you're generating. You don't need to buy Bitcoin. Okay? And invest in Tesla stocks. It's sheer speculation. That guy is too much as a salesman. He's really producing. He's not making money. If you ask me as how to run companies, and you run a company like him for decades and still make no money, has really no real way of making money, I say your stock is worthless. I would not buy Tesla stocks. However, it's still worth a lot of money to a lot of people, making a lot of people rich. Anyway, how do we get into stocks? Anyway, so when you recite the mantra, you generate a lot of blessings. Okay, meaning that you are among the privileged. Okay, you're like the Elon, like the Jeff Bezos, and therefore, it's very hard to stop you from doing what you want. Does it help? You can talk all you want, but unless you have real meat, okay, unless you have money in your bank account, okay, then it's very difficult to stop you. Similarly, when you recite these mantras, you generate so many blessings in yourself, so that when your obstructions come and try to stop you from coming to the temple, somehow you manage to get what you want. Because you have blessings. See that? So it works both ways. You have blessings, like Elon and Bezos and so forth, and he wants to buy a yacht. Bezos spent $500 million buying a yacht. Do you hear that? That's a lot of temples, man. He spent $500 million buying a yacht. One yacht. He needs a lot of tax deductions, let me tell you. Okay? One yacht, $500 million. Okay? He can afford it. So who's going to stop him? Okay. Yes, sir.
If you use that money to buy temples, would it be good, or would it be worth it to be that rich, and you have to step on that many toes to get as rich as he is? But if you spent that money on building temples, would it be worth it? Would it cancel out and even bring him benefit, all the bad things he did?
No. No. Well, it depends. What temple are we talking about? You get my drift? Okay. So that's why, to answer your question, that's why when you have obstructions, one way is you repent to erase the obstructions. The other way is create a lot of blessings. Okay? So that you have the obstruction are making it harder for your obstructions to overwhelm you. Okay? You have the money to buy as many yachts as you want, that kind of thing. Okay? Helicopters, airports, airplanes. You name it. Huh? Okay? So that's why blessings. And so to deal with obstruction, you have two ways. You have one is blessings. You have blessings. Another way you have is repent, so that you erase the seeds for your obstructions. Okay? And number three is that you use your skills. Okay? And you destroy your obstructions. Okay? So you're learning. By the way, Daniel, in Buddhism, we teach you all three. Okay? All right. We still here? Oh, good Lord. This is difficult. Difficult to impress you. Not difficult. It's difficult to impress you because it's not much room for BS. Okay, moving on. 120. Did we read? Did we go through here? Okay, next. 119, Sutra Text. Well able to discriminate among marks, but unmoving in a primary meaning, the very act of viewing in this way itself is a function of true suchness.
能善分别相，第一义不动，但作如是见，即是真如用。
This is cool. I'm warning you. Not for non-Buddhists. Okay? 120. Well able to discriminate, drop the among. Okay? I would not use discriminate, I would use discern. Because discriminate here has a negative connotation. Here it has no negative connotation at all in Chinese. It says it's about discerning marks, distinguishing marks, not discriminating marks. So far, so good? This is the difference between these. This is why I'm sorry, in my humble opinion, they did a great job at my master's disciples. They did a great job translating. But these were the subtleties here that shows where their Chan skill level is, unfortunately. And we need to raise the bar again. Okay, this morning I talked about raising the bar. We need to do that. Okay? Okay. Well able to discern marks. Okay? This is not as hard as it sounds, okay? To be able to distinguish marks, meaning to be able to clearly see things. Marks here refers to anything you see, okay? Whatever you open your eyes, you see, that's called a mark. Whatever you hear, it's called a mark. Whatever you taste, okay? Today, what did we eat? Okay, that's a mark. Curry. Is it Indian or Vietnamese? That's mark as well. You see that? All those are marks. So far, so good? You able to discern marks. Not done yet. So far, so good. Okay? But unmoving in the primary meaning. What does it mean? When you... No, you won't be able to understand. And please. Settle down. Okay. When you discern marks, he's talking about us. Okay? Look at yourself. When you discern marks, okay? When someone says, that's too Buddhist. Happens? Huh? Every time. But unmoving in a primary meaning. Meaning that when you make a distinction, when you discern this is red, this is black, this is woman, this is a child, this is Shanghai, that's communist, and so forth. When you discern those things, so far so good. That's the first line. When you discern things clearly, when you discern things clearly, but you are unmoving, meaning that you have no affliction whatsoever. That's unmoving. Meaning that when you see, for example, when you hear, for example, we have a lot of kids in our temple, okay? They run back and forth, run back and forth. You know, typically, you go to Buddhist temple, they say, oh, you have to be respectful, okay? You are making noises, therefore you are, creating offenses. Yes? You hear that, right? No? No? It's been so long, I don't remember. Yes? Churches too, right? You go to church, you can't let children. Especially I saw, how people in the church behave. You sit there. You don't want to move too much. You don't want to look around too much. Yes, sir.
Except for one priest that actually did allow children to play around and run around.
He's probably Buddhist. So the point here is that you go to the typical religious place, the children are kept in check because you don't want to be disruptive, you don't want to create too much noise, you don't want to misbehave and so forth. Right? It's correct. It's not wrong. Okay? However, in our temple, we have kids who come here and screaming from the top of their lungs. Okay? Both in San Jose and in down south here as well. Does it happen in Korea or not? No? I don't see, and I never saw any children. Okay, in Korea. Really? They come to the temple? Okay. So the point here is that it depends on your perspective. Yes, you learn to teach the kids to behave and not make noises. That's fine. That's a good way to go. And our style, which we copied, we imitated Master Shenhua style, is that we let them loose. They do whatever they want. They scream, they yell, they make a lot of noises, they fight each other. I remember Lu Mountain Temple, Joseph and Jared used to fight each other during lecture. So they fight right next to my Dharma seat, just outside the wall. So you can hear Joseph, Mom, and Mom, Jared just hit me. And said, no, I didn't. Yes, you did. And Jared goes, because you're nasty. No, I'm not. So on, back and forth. And people used to be bothered by that. Okay? At least I used to be bothered by that. So after a while, it doesn't bother you anymore because that's the norm. You see? There's a difference. You set your norms to be non-moving and no noises, that's what you condition yourself to. But after a while, if you create a condition where you allow noises and you tolerate noises and you tolerate disturbances, that becomes the norm. That means that your mind is unmoving. You see that? However, it's not that unmoving alone, but unmoving in the primary meaning here. He refers to the fact that your mind, okay, this refers to the mind of an enlightened person, meaning a fourth stage arhat or higher. That's to be precise. Okay, the Chinese love to say Di. Butung, D-E-E here. Okay, used to bother me a lot. Primordial meaning, primary meaning, all those things, they translate it correctly, but no one knows what it means. This refers to when you have the mind of an arhat or higher. There's no but and ifs, that's it. So if, meaning that if you are not an arhat, okay, you're lower than an arhat, then your mind will move. So we force you to sit there and listen to the kids and tolerate the kids because we're training your mind to get to the state of an arhat a lot quicker by tolerating movement. Does it make sense to you? The difference of approach. Your mind, when you force kids not to make noises and behave themselves, okay, then you have fewer afflictions, okay? Until the kids make a lot of noises, then you go crazy at home. Right? But if you go to the temple and you can see the kids behave the way whatever they want to, make a lot of noises and make a mess and everything else, eat in a Buddha hall. You remember there's a Chinese couple with young kids who came and they bring food to the Buddha hall. And I never said anything. So my disciples said, Master, they brought food to the Buddha hall. The Chinese, and they brought food to the Buddha hall. And I said, yeah, and he said, so they backed off. And then a few weeks later, he said, but Master, the ants in the Buddha hall. I said, say what? See what I mean? So we condition ourselves, okay? I can tolerate, dropping bits on the Buddha hall, but I would not tolerate fleas or ants. Yes, sir. Orange.
Sorry, I apologize. So how do you deal with, not deal, but how do you take away the offenses that children create on the temple?
They're not my children. Easy. What's the problem? But how do churches deal with that? He's trying to give me a hard time. How do churches deal with that? Huh? How did the father, your father who allowed children to misbehave in the church, how does he deal with it?
He didn't.
He didn't?
The other priest would say, please get your child outside to breathe some air so he could come down, but that priest didn't do anything.
Yeah. Well, I imitated my master. My master allowed for it, okay? And therefore, what I do is I say, I'm practicing Master YongHua's Dharma. And therefore, he would take care of it. Yeah? Until somebody reminded me, you're no longer part of Master YongHua's disciples. Nasty people. So I had to deal with it. Because if I don't, what happened is that suppose I allow your children to misbehave and make a lot of noises and create offenses. I do nothing about it. Okay? What happens? They fall. They create offense, they will fall. Okay? Whose fault is it? My fault. Because I allow it. Okay? You cannot avoid it. If I allow it, I'm responsible. So I might as well deal with it right now. That's why I go to great compassion repentance. I say, please erase those. See, that's how busy we are. All right. So, unmoving in the primary meaning here refers to a state of mind of the enlightened people. Okay? So, when you discern marks, when you see things out there, okay, Rubik's Cube and so forth, and your mind is totally unmoving, red car, Bahamas and those things, okay? The meaning your mind is totally unimpressed. It's not moving. In the primary meaning, your mind really totally is unmoving. That's is meant by the primary meaning. Okay? There's only one unmoving that we're talking about. So far, so good. There's no two. Either you are unmoving or you are moving, period. Okay? So this unmoving here refers to the state of the sages. Okay? The very act of viewing in this way, when your mind's unmoving, then your views, your own views that are formed with this unmoving mind, okay, is the functioning of your Buddha nature. Okay. Questions? Red.
So those views are true.
Yes. Next.
What leads to an unmoving mind?
The mind of a fourth stage arhat or higher. If you're below, you can claim all you want. Your mind moves. Daniel, I'm not going to elaborate further on your side. You know what I mean? Your mind moves. Then it's a view, which is begins with an F. See that? It's a very powerful statement. Any other questions? Okay, so he started first by saying, when you have a view, any view is false. And that's why people reacted. Say, I lost a couple of people. Last week, there's a Riddler who says, I disagree, I feel so good. And there's a Maya princess who says, I agree, I felt so peaceful, I felt so good when I meditate, and you tell me it's false. Remember that? Were you here last week? Okay, remember those two poor souls? They lost. This week is too much. They said, once is enough, 2 weeks in a row, that's too much. Okay? So now this week we're learning that the true view, there's such a thing called true view, okay? The true view is a view that when you see something and your mind is totally unmoving, okay? Then that comes from your Buddha nature. Questions, comments? Any questions? So your Buddha nature can be utilized that way. Okay? Meaning any of us can function that way. Uh-oh, yes, opening a new can of worms.
That view then can be created without the necessity of the outward senses.
That's too complicated. Let me put it this way. Whatever you receive through your sensory organs, and you form a view that's free from affliction, free from bias, that is your Buddha nature at work. Instead of using your words, I use mine. It's safer. Because your words has a lot of different decision trees, different branches. I don't want to fight, engage in that fight. Yes. Green.
But, Master, you have to be at a level of fourth stage arhat or higher.
No, not necessarily. That's what's beautiful about it. A fourth stage arhat or higher can deliberately enter that state. Is that clear? This is a very dangerous question, by the way. This woman is probably spy number 5 or something like that. Okay. He says, must you be a fourth stage arhat or higher? I said, no. It's not true. Because what happened is that the difference between a fourth stage arhat or higher and us is that they have the technique, the skill to enter that state of unmoving at will. We can't. Is that clear? However, at times, even she can enter that state. Without being a fourth stage arhat. Anyone can enter that state, including them. It's the truth. You don't need, just that the problem is that you don't know how to do it. What matters in life is that you're able to do it when you need to, right? You cannot hope that, I hope that when I have a view, I happen to be in the right state of mind, therefore I'm safe. You can't. You have no control over it. Whereas a fourth stage arhat or higher, they say, that's it. Isn't that cool? That's the only difference between us and them. That's it. They're able to do that at will when we can't. Yes, sir. Red.
We're not a fourth stage or higher, and that state came upon us. Would we recognize it?
When you recognize it, you can't. And that's why for you it's hit and miss. You don't know. Most of the time it's miss. If you now, once in a blue moon it's a hit. But then you're so down on yourself already, I'm such a loser. So you will not be able to tell the difference. Yes, green. Red.
Well, okay, so I can sometimes do that. Okay, so if there's like right there behind you, there's apples and oranges, and I discern them, and I have no emotions attached to the red and the orange or whatever it is. But if I feel pain in my body, like let's say someone punched me or something like that, then my mind would move, right? So there's levels to it, right? Like how much your attachment is how moving your mind would be when something happens.
Probably. Yes, sir. Orange.
So true view is when you enter Somali?
It's sort of samadhi, yes, absolutely. Very good. Where is he from again? Really? You surprise me every weekend. It's depressing. Okay, anyone else? You see, that's why the proof is that because you have the Buddha nature. Okay? It's capable of being unmoving at times. You just aren't aware of it, that's all. That's what the Buddha says. I need to tell you the truth about you. Okay? When you don't think yourself as Christian first, then's when you have a chance. Okay? Because when I know you think I'm joking with that, because I'm Christian, that itself puts you in the false views immediately. Same thing, if I say I'm Buddhist, what does it do? Same thing, false view. Is that clear? Not just them, but us as well, unfortunately. Or you say, I don't believe in any religion. Same thing. Huh? Time is up. Thank you all. Huh? Fun lecture, huh? This is interesting.